As the battle between the Galactic Republic and Trade Federation reached its apex, Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi entered into the hangar of the Theed Palace on Naboo, intent on capturing Viceroy Gunray, when they encountered the Zabrak Sith Maul. As they fought from the hangar to the generators, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are separated by the shields, and the Jedi Master fell at the blade of Maul as his aging defences finally folded. Although Obi-Wan managed to defeat Maul, Qui-Gon could not be saved, and his training to become a Force Spirit had been incomplete. Over a decade later, Jedi Grandmaster Yoda learnt of Qui-Gon's training as the deceased Jedi spoke to him in the Force and guided him through his trials, first going to Dagobah, then the Wellspring of Life, to seek the guidance of the Force priestesses. Yoda was able to complete his training, but he had not been enough for the Jedi, as Darth Sidious had deceived them all to become the Emperor of his new empire. The surviving members of the Jedi Purge convened to discuss their plans for the future, and there Obi-Wan learned of his master's path to immortality. Through his years of isolation on Tatooine, the Jedi Master spoke to Qui-Gon and trained to become a Force Spirit to help Luke Skywalker defeat the might of the Empire. But what if Qui-Gon had been able to complete his training before his death on Naboo? How could he help the Jedi through the battle with the dark side? As you're going to discover, Qui-Gon's ghost could have changed the outcome of the war. In the Galactic City on Coruscant, the planet along with many others broadcasted the continued celebrations on Naboo, but those of the Jedi Temple did not join in. Yoda and the other Jedi had been concerned about the return of the Sith, and the Grand Master also feared for the training of Anakin Skywalker. As he meditated, he heard a voice that he thought he would never hear again, and he addressed Master Qui-Gon Jinn. The corporeal form of the Jedi Master glided around the room, and Yoda looked astonished that Qui-Gon had transcended the living force to achieve immortality. Yoda asked Qui-Gon how they could defeat the Sith, but the Jedi Master spoke in riddles, only telling Yoda that Dooku's departure from the Jedi Order could return to hurt them. Immediately disappearing from the Grandmaster's sight, the Force Spirit drifted to Obi-Wan's new quarters, where the Jedi looked saddened at the loss of his master, and the task that laid ahead of him in training the Chosen One. Qui-Gon's presence led to Obi-Wan igniting his blade, fearing that this was some kind of Sith trick, but the recently dead Jedi Master assured him they had trained for such a moment. Qui-Gon did not want Obi-Wan to drown in his failure to save him, but focus on training Anakin, as he strongly believed that the boy would bring balance to the Force. As the Jedi Knight progressed his training of Anakin, Qui-Gon continued to guide his Padawan and attempted to track down Dooku, but without success. As Dooku continued to revolve his machinations of a clone war, Qui-Gon detected something wrong with the death of Jedi Master Sabotage. Appearing in front of the Jedi Council after they had meditated together, the Force Spirit alerted the Jedi to the disappearance, and they went to investigate as soon as possible. Yoda left the council chamber, then ventured to the home of the old Supreme Chancellor Valorum, and with the memory of the secret mission at the front of his mind, the former politician gave all of the details of the journey to deal with the Pike Syndicate. Dispatching himself and Jedi Master Plo Koon to find out why he had disappeared, the Jedi entered the system of Obadiah, where the ghost of Qui-Gon appeared to guide them to the moon. The Jedi battle through the vicious winds, and they find the remains of the Jedi Master T6 shuttle, then his lightsaber. Still devoid of answers, the Jedi fly to the base of the criminal Pike organisation and discover that Valorum's personal aide of Silman still survived, as the Pikes had kept him to protect from Dooku's potential betrayal. The Jedi interrogate the still sane human, and he revealed that the Pikes had been paid to kill him and Sifo Dyas, also revealing that it had been the work of Dooku under the name of Tyrannus. The Jedi stare at each other in horror, as this meant the former Jedi was the Sith they needed to defeat, and they had to stop any other of his plans he could have weaved in the meantime. The Jedi continued their chase of Sifo Dyas by heading to Felucia, where they had originally ordered him to go, and they discovered that the local tribes continued to believe that the Jedi had lived. Yoda revealed that they had been deceived, and Dooku was not the Jedi they believed him to be, so they seek vengeance for their planet. The Jedi is still missing the final element to the puzzle, and Qui-Gon uses previous knowledge of his master to inform them that Dooku had sided with Sifo Dyas in his ambitious plan to create a Grand Army of the Republic, so they search through the history of the Jedi Master's communications with the other worlds. The resident Jedi investigator Terra Sanube is in charge of the search, and the Coliseum Master uses previous training of Sifo-Dyas to determine they have been in contact with the Kaminoans quite frequently. The Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi joins Yoda and Plo Koon on their journey to solve the mystery of the Sith, unaware of what they would face on Kamino. The Jedi soon enter the thick atmosphere of the aquatic planet, and the 3 passengers held onto the walls of the Republic Pelter-class frigate as the brutal storms and downpours of rain clattered onto them. The pilots swooped along the ocean's waves, trying to see through the poor visibility for a landing spot, but they all heard a loud metallic sound beneath them. Rising from the floor had been a group of Trident-class assault ships, put in place by Dooku to ward off any intruders into a secret project, and the ship began to lose control. The Jedi jumped out and topped onto the passing airwheels, then eventually found a platform to land on, which happened to be one of that of Tipoca cities, as the storm finally subsided. The trio gazed through the array of platforms, and they could not miss the giant military complex in front of them. As they moved towards it, they are greeted by the Kaminoan Prime Minister Lama Su, who provided them with a tour of the city. Entering the central cloning chamber, the Jedi are even more surprised to find the army that had been built for Dooku, but the Kaminoans revealed they had in fact been built for the Jedi to use. From what Qui-Gon had revealed to them, the army was not an innocent servant for the Republic, and after using mind tricks on the Kaminoans, they split up to destroy the area and find the truth. Yoda uses his diminutive stature to glide through the area undetected, all the way to the roof of the barracks, where he finds the Kaminoans talking to the hooded Dooku. The Jedi Grandmaster absorbed every word of his old apprentice, and as they spread out into the city to find the Jedi, Yoda pounced on the opportunity to use an astromech droid and take evidence of all of the recordings that had taken place between Dooku and the Kaminoans, then went to assist Plo Koon in the genetics hall. The Keldor Master had already discovered the suspicious inhibitor chips, and tied with Dooku's conversation with the Kaminoans, they took one sample to investigate to the Jedi Temple, as Obi-Wan reported that he had set up the bombs he had found in the supplies room to activate. Jumping out of the roof, they dive back into the water and watch all of the platforms detonating, before calling for transport back to Coruscant. The Jedi land at the temple, relieved that they had destroyed a threat to their order, but outside of the building, the population regarded this as a needless destruction and protested against the violence. With the evidence in hand, the Jedi quickly head to the Senate building, and there the Separatists and their allies deny allegations of their involvement, and Palpatine cannot prove that Dooku was the hooded figure in the holographic recording on Kamino. All appear to be lost for the Jedi as they trudge back to their home, but Obi-Wan had other ideas. The Jedi Knight had gone straight to the Jedi archives after the mission, as he had been curious about the manufacture of the Trident-class assault ship, and discovered that the Colicoids were part of the Techno Union, and they had participated in a little-known event named The Gathering, where numerous powerful figures from across the galaxy performed in annual celebrations on the planet of Sojourn. The suspicious Jedi dug a little further into the archives, and found that it had been organised by the deceased member of the Intergalactic Banking Clan, Qui-Gon the Master II, who had also been in contact with the Kaminoans. The ghost of Qui-Gon appeared once again, as the Jedi Knight could not decipher the deception that the Sith had laid out, and the Jedi Master tells his Padawan that they had been right to destroy Kamino. Qui-Gon also informs the Jedi that he had felt the dark side on their home planet, but it was so well shielded that those in the living force had not detected it, and even Qui-Gon did not know of his true identity. Little did they realise that this mysterious darkness had been in the form of Palpatine, and the secret Dark Lord of the Sith had been furious at the Jedi's destruction of his clone army. Without the troopers, he could not betray the Jedi as he wanted, and ordered Dooku to repair his mistake by increasing the rate of production on Geonosis, and on every other Separatist-controlled planet. Aware that failure from Sidious had the ultimate price, the apprentice stepped up to the challenge, not only producing new droids, but also a formidable fleet that the Republic could not counter, and started the war that his master desired. Dooku lured the Jedi by causing a disturbance above the planet of Geonosis, and the signal was relayed by Palpatine to the Jedi, and they had no option but to respond, and even if it was not the Clone War, the Republic and the Separatists still locked into battle. As the Jedi Council stood around the holotable in the missions room, General Mace Windu began to lay out the plan to tackle the superior army, when they are interrupted by Qui-Gon. The Force Spirit deemed their plan to be too ambitious, and they needed to use a similar plan to the Battle of Naboo before fading away. Windu ignored the advice of Qui-Gon, as he believed that Dooku could not have built such a large number of resources in the short period since they destroyed Kamino, and the Jedi head out in their array of mismatched ships to the coordinates of the signal given by Palpatine. As they leave hyperspace, those aboard Mace Windu's cruiser looked at him in disgust, as Qui-Gon had been accurate about the size of Dooku's forces, and they began to sustain heavy fire, then begun to be drawn in by the tractor beam of the Separatist dreadnought. On the opposite side of the planet, General Kenobi had been oblivious to the issues of the other Jedi, as he had entered into his starfighter with his padawan, and they followed the wise words of Qui-Gon, targeting the droid control ship. Anakin tried to replicate what he had done on Naboo, but the fleet in front of him was impenetrable from the skies, and they tumbled to the ground beneath him in a blaze of fire. Once they crash landed on the dry terrain, they had not even gotten to their feet before the sound of droids clicking in anticipation surrounded them. The tactical droid is about to order for their execution when the small starship of Yoda whisks past them, and the Grandmaster leapt out to scythe through the wave of droids, as he had also taken to the advice of Qui-Gon. With the help of the two Jedi, they shift their target to the Separatist anti-aircraft turrets, then take over them to fire at the ships entering the atmosphere. The Republic seemed to be gaining a foothold in the battle when the Jedi heard a lightsaber ignite behind them, and Dooku emerged to lift a large pile of rubble in the way of the Jedi, trapping Anakin, but Yoda just blocked it before they could reach Obi-Wan. The former master and apprentice dueled, as Obi-Wan continued to repel the incoming Separatist fighters and droids, then lifted the trapped Anakin to safety. As Jedi Master Luminar and Julie skidded to the floor in her starship, Obi-Wan ran through the dusty Yoda, but he did not need to, as the Grand Master just disarmed Dooku and ordered him to surrender. The former Jedi did not have time to make a decision, as from a cave behind him, Darth Sidious mockingly applauded the efforts of Yoda and removed his hood to reveal that it was in fact Palpatine. The Jedi could not hide their surprise at seeing the Chancellor being the Sith Lord, and he used their distraction to launch a lightning attack as the Jedi flew back into the rocks. Palpatine twirled his lightsabers and threw them at the Jedi, but they were stopped in midair by Anakin. Equipped with a bandage over his head, the Jedi had received the advice of Qui-Gon and escaped from the medical frigate to run to the battle, and here he was with a chance to end the Sith. As Dooku remained on the ground, Palpatine beckoned Anakin to join him and fulfill his destiny by taking his place at his side. Qui-Gon's words circled Anakin's mind, and the Jedi Knight diverted both of the lightsabers back into the Sith as they fell to the floor with shocked expressions on their faces. Anakin then guided the Jedi to their feet as they repelled the droids that had been diverted by the Separatist Alliance to the ground level, assisted by the surviving Republic ships. The Jedi Knight entered into his starfighter once more with his master, and together they destroyed the less protected droid control ship, and the Great Battle of Geonosis had been won by the Jedi. The Republic forces returned to Coruscant to a chorus of applause, as the Republic senators had been able to twist the events to redeem the reputation of the Jedi in the Senate. The Separatist politicians had been quickly rounded up, as their corruption had finally been proven after the deaths of Dooku and Palpatine, but in the Jedi Temple, the loss of many Jedi had not been forgotten. The ghost of Qui-Gon appeared again, and Yoda decides to embark on his own journey to achieve immortality, as Qui-Gon guided him through to meet the Force priestesses and the subsequent trials. The Jedi Grandmaster returned from his journey, realising that there had been so much more knowledge of the Force, which the rest of the Order could learn, and the Jedi needed to change, were they to stop the Sith from returning again. That is it for What If Qui-Gon Became a Force Ghost. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.